my goodness, the sky is falling. Tesla is dropping prices. The company's going out of business. You got to move to the south of Spain where there's no rain and you have to change your name. Oh my goodness. No. Relax. By the way, welcome to this beautiful Friday. My name is Tom Nash, and today we have to talk about the Tesla price cuts. Yes, Tesla is dropping prices significantly, but as I'm about to show in this video, because I always give you the bottom line first, that's actually a good thing and a 4D chess move that's about to make Tesla a lot of money. Now, bear with me here. I'll explain everything, what happened, and what's going to happen. Now, if you're here for the FUD and you want me to hate on Tesla, I mean, there's plenty of channels that kind of regurgitate this Pavlovian Tesla hate and Elon hate. Feel free to watch that. But I'm going to give you the analysis the way I see it. Now, look, I'm a bull of Tesla. I'm an investor of Tesla. Obviously, I want the company to succeed, but I'm not going to ride its D just because I'm an investor. If there's problems, I'm going to call them out. Now, look, this is what happened. So Tesla basically announced that they're dropping prices significantly across the board. About 10% on the Model S and then the Model X. But more importantly, 20% on a Model Y, which is very significant. Even the Model 3 Performance is now going to be $54,000. Now, the crazy part is that beyond the Model 3 Performance, you can now get the base Model Y for $53,000. That's all the way down from $66,000 for the base model before the price drop. Now, is this a bad idea? Does this mean that Tesla is losing ground? They can't compete? They're dropping prices because they're getting beat? The margins are gone, like the company's going bankrupt? No. None of this. Let me explain to you exactly what's going on. This is literally a combination of 4 different 4D chess moves by Tesla and Elon Musk. Absolutely brilliant. Now, here's what's going to happen right now. Look, we all talked about it just last week, how the government screwed the pooch, right? They released the regulations for this new EV credit, and they basically declassified the Model Y from the EV tax credit as an SUV, which means that they now have to compete within that $55,000 range. So if the Ford Mustang E, if the GM Cadillac Lyriq and the base Model Y 5-seater is now not under $55,000, they will not get this $7,500 credit. So what did GM do? Nothing. They complained. What did Ford do? I don't think Ford even got the memo. I think Ford to this point probably don't even know about the EV tax credit. What did Tesla do? Well, Tesla actually didn't sit around and wait for the government because, GM and Ford, they're really used to just sitting there and waiting for the government to bail them out like they did many, many times in the past. Tesla's not waiting on anybody. So what did Tesla do? Look at this. What happened? Look at Model 3 Performance and look at Model Y. Both cars are now right on the money, just under $55,000. So they can so they can qualify for the EV tax credit of $7,500, which is huge. And I'll explain in a second why. This is not just a price cut to handle, some sort of a demand failure. That's not what it's all about. Now, look, in 2021, you have to understand what happened. Go and, when in doubt, zoom out. In 2021, Tesla actually raised the prices for the Model Y by $17,000, all the way up to what we have right now. Now, they're now reducing the price by $13,000 just a year later. So in aggregate, in net, we're still about $4,000 higher than what we were when the car actually launched. So this price drop is just a backwards adjustment to the original price. That can still actually be painful. That is if you don't have margins. But here's the thing. Tesla have plenty of margin. Ask yourself this question. Why didn't GM do it? Why didn't Ford do it? Why didn't they drop the Mach-E and the Lyriq below $55,000 like Tesla just did with the Model Y? Because they literally can't. Their margin, and I'm not here to tell you all about this for the first time because you probably know this already, but the margin for Ford and GM, the gross margin on cars, is about 11%. And that's across the board, including the more profitable ones. Tesla is at 24%. So they have way more margin, more than double the margin of GM and Ford, which means they can actually do this and not get absolutely annihilated. Ford and GM are already operating in the red. Ford and GM already have billions, hundreds of billions of debt, and they cannot afford to drop even a single dollar on these cars. They're already losing money on these cars as it is because they can't make them cheap enough. They just don't know how. They don't have the experience. They don't have the track record. They don't know how to make these cheap cars EV. Now, here's the crazy part. So Tesla is dropping the price. They definitely have the margins to absorb it, but don't forget, the volume makes up for these discounts.
But then the obvious choice in that scenario is, do you want to grow unit volume, in which case you'll have to adjust prices downward, or do you want to grow at a lower rate or go steady? It's sort of a choice there. My inclination would be to still grow as I mean, my bias would be to say like, okay, let's grow as fast as we can without putting the company at risk.
And yes, obviously, when you reduce prices, that margin, that profitability is going to be hurt. You're not going to be making 24% again, at least not for a while. But guess what? If your volume of sales actually goes up insanely, that's going to compensate for the reduction in margin. Now, the question is, can Tesla compensate? Well, I think they can, and let me show you why. Look, you have to understand what's going on here. $45,000 is basically now the price you have to pay for the Model Y. That's very, very competitive considering the landscape Tesla is operating in. Now, Tesla is also not waiting for the government. They're also considering what's to come. 2023 is about to be a very painful year. There's a lot of bad things coming in 2023 for the economy. People are not going to be buying $65,000, $70,000 cars like crazy like they did in 2019 and 2020. We all know that. So, while Lyric and the Mach-E are going to stay very elevated in price and Ford and GM can't make enough of them anyways, Tesla actually has big plans for the Model Y and the Model 3, which means that at $45,000, a Model Y base is a very, very competitive car, which is going to increase sales actually way stronger and way faster than even some of the more optimistic models I've seen lately. At $45K, it's a whole different ballgame. It's actually a recession-proof strategy ahead of time, which the margins that we just talked about, that 24% gross margin, allows Tesla to do and does not allow Ford and GM to do the same. I think it's going to propel sales absolutely insanely. And think about it this way. Tesla is already growing at 40% per year on sales, at least on deliveries, in a market that's gone down 8%. Tesla, I think, also did a little 4D chess move here that nobody actually talks about. I think Tesla waited to do these price cuts. They waited until Berlin was actually operational. They waited until Berlin was actually ramped up. And they waited for China to get out of zero COVID policy so they can actually produce all of this new demand. There's no doubt in my mind that at $45,000, the Model Y is going to sell like hotcakes. Now, if you can't deliver the cars, if your factories are not there to give you bandwidth, there's no point in doing this. I think now that we've seen that Germany is actually online, that China is going back online, Tesla can actually produce these cars. So now they're dropping the price to actually accommodate that. Now, the crazy part is they're going to have the government subsidize part of it because them dropping the price by about, $13,000 is going to be matched by the government giving the purchases another $7,500. That means that that $45,000 is going to be offset at least partially by the government. Not bad at all. Now, this is a classic example when the government tries to screw Tesla and screw them out of their, EV credit, and then just Tesla says, well, you know what? You didn't like us in the front door, we're going to come in through the window. But having said that, I don't know what the stock market is going to do. I don't know what the share price is going to look like for the next year or two. Who knows? We're going into a very difficult year. I don't know. But guess what? I couldn't care less. As a long-term investor, I know that the fundamentals are going to beat out the market, no matter how many embarrassing, weird, strange stuff Elon tweets about. Hey, this is just my opinion. Let me know below if you agree with me. If you disagree with me, see you next video.
Gerber Kowalski.
Born and raised in South Detroit.